Hi, everybody, and welcome to Supercat Studios. This is a series in which we will be ranking different movie franchises on different themed tier lists. Today is possibly one of the most debaucherous, degenerate, blasphemous movie series that we've ever come across that we love
Yep.
and we loved as children, the Askewniverse, Kevin Smith's Varietous Library.
Yeah, this is actually kind of the movie series that started me and Ed's friendship. Uh yeah, he showed me these, and for a while, like in my high school years, these were my favorite movies. All of these movies have been my favorite View Askew Universe movie at one point. And I think even though that he does have some good ones and bad ones, you know what? No, I gotta say, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot sucked. That was not part of my favorites ever, but like everything else was my favorite at one point. As bad reviews some of the movies get, it's very impressive for a writer to have that and to have these hilarious ongoing like inside jokes and all these things throughout the movies that are like really cool. People say Kevin Smith created the very first cinematic universe. So, yeah, in a world filled with Marvel movies and DC movies and everything, I remember watching these and being very refreshed that all the people seemed like real people and it was well written. What do you have to say about these movies before we get into it, actually?
These are movies I do look at with a lot of love and a lot of nostalgia, but I would be lying if I didn't say I have sort of outgrown the style of debaucherous sense of humor.
Yeah.
I still love it though.
Same.
You really can't go wrong with it sometimes.
Fair
Sometimes you
enough.
can, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, and I agree with him. Like, we outgrew these. Like, they got less funny over a period of time, but some of them are classics and some of them still hold up, honestly.
Absolutely.
Before we get started, I figured I'd walk you through the tiers just in case you're confused. The best is Don Juan de la Nuche. All of these are references, by the way. Then for uh, great, you have Snoogans. For good, you have movies like this don't just fall out of the sky. For mid tier, we got I'm down with this because I love movies.
Stupid. Sorry.
The next tier below that is haha you dumb bastard. These are the worst tiers. Then we have this movie isn't even supposed to be here today. And then the worst, sucks 37 dicks in a row question mark.
In a row?
But yeah. So yeah, now that you know the tier list, we're gonna go through them and we'll have something to say about each movie. This is like a speed review kind of, which is
Yeah.
cool. Takes care of a lot at once. So I think this is the best platform to do it. And I love tier lists, and I love watching tier list videos.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, right now we have the first Clerks. Yeah, this is a hard one for me, actually. I don't know about you, Ed, if you know where you want to put it.
Man, the first Clerks is really to me it's one of the iconic movies in this lineup. It is the movie that started his career. He maxed out I think 10 or 20 credit cards. He shipped this movie to a bunch of film festivals and finally it got the praise it deserved at Sundance. For me,
Yeah,
this ranks pretty high.
yeah,
You know,
I would
wow.
I would agree.
And I
I
think
do,
what puts this movie up on a pedestal for me is the almost apathetic delivery from all the actors in this movie. Like it feels like a movie about two real guys working a job,
yeah,
and the actors really nailed that. So yeah,
yeah. Sorry. Okay. You're convincing me here. I was gonna say I wouldn't put it in Don Juan Delanucci because it's not for everybody. I've sat people down to watch this movie and have had to wonder like, oh, they're not laughing. Like, is this just for people like me or Ed? But I don't think that that should stop a movie from its greatness for the people who watch it. So, and we're ranking these movies as fans of these movies. So, how would you feel about putting it in the Snoogans tier list
that's what I was actually gonna say. Like I
or,
feel like
or the Snoogans section?
it's not the best of his movies, but it's definitely up there. You know,
Yeah.
Snoogans I feel like is a great place for it.
Okay, next we have something that Ed has not seen, which is hilarious because I watched this on his box set at his house one day, whether he knew or not. I don't know if you did know I was watching it.
I don't think I
Um,
did.
okay, well, yeah. This one, it's very stupid and has dated humor. Is it safe is a very funny joke. but it doesn't save the series for me. It was very stupid humor. There's some good episodes in there. I would recommend checking it out if you're a fan. Like, why not? Like, it's something to enjoy, something to watch on a day you're just chilling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say we'll get to it. It's miles better than the super groovy cartoon movie. I think
Ooh,
I would
that's a
put this one in haha, you dumb bastard.
you dumb
You know what?
bastard.
No, we're gonna go up a step because it's like I said, I would watch it on a relaxed day. It's
Yeah.
not great. Super dated humor. Still, still all right. I enjoyed it for that day that I watched it. I'm not even gonna take Ed's opinion on this one.
Oh
I'm just
shit.
kidding. Do you want to put it in Don Juan Delanucci,
I
or is
mean,
that
that
too
kind of
bold?
is my opinion. This is Mallrats. You know, coming from this bias, it is my favorite of the Viewers universe. As milky as it has aged in some aspects,
Yeah.
I do feel like the plot still holds up to this day.
Mm. I actually I remembered something about this movie, and for some reason I didn't remember it. And my friend, Michael the Movie Man, shout out to that guy, told me, "Hey man, like I forget if he said if he liked the movie or not, but like one thing that really creeped him out in the movie was the 14-year-old girl who sleeps with a bunch of adult dudes, and it feels like they're really trying to throw something edgy in there to make Ben Affleck's character super bad. It's still very uncomfortable, and if I'm not going to give anime the pass, I'm not going to give Mallrats the pass.
Yeah,
That brings the movie down a notch for me to put it in Snoogans. Everything else about the movie is great. If it was just that removed, I think it would be a Don Juan Delanucci movie.
I
But
couldn't agree more. You know, that movie, like I said, kind of aged like milk. Didn't stand the test of time in terms of some of those jokes, but a lot of them, I do feel like it has a lot more iconic quotes than Clerks.
yeah, like your movie can have something weird, but if it's something worldwide weird that people like don't vibe with, I'm still not going to give you the pass. And because it's not done, like there's no way you could really execute that topic well. Like you just shouldn't have put it in my opinion.
Yeah, you really
But
just should have stayed away. But
yeah, the next one on the list. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I just went into that. Let me tell you what I actually like about the movie. Jason Lee's character in this movie is one of the best in the entire series. Period.
I have a hard time disagreeing with you there. Brody is probably one of the funniest, most kind of stone cold deliveries of this
Yeah.
franchise. And
You think just because a guy read comics he can't start some like I fucking love that line,
yeah,
dude.
like that line gave me some semblance of probably false confidence that I needed as a nerdy kid.
Yeah, and then dude, Stanley, I'm not forgetting this.
Oh,
Stanley in this
yeah.
movie, best Stanley appearance in any movie.
Let's not forget that
Um,
Kevin Smith started the Stan Lee cameo trend.
yeah, I've actually been seeing this clip of Stanley pop up in a lot of videos lately of him telling about how he lost the girl of his dreams and then made the comics after it. I've been seeing that edit, but that's going to lead a lot of people to believe he actually felt that way, when in reality, he actually put that line in the movie to say it was all because he didn't want to make his wife mad. So,
Oh,
like that's he never meant any of that. Yeah.
yeah,
It's pretty funny, but it's actually like a super moving fictional speech. So I love it. I love his supporting role in this movie.
yeah, and that's
Next week,
honestly, you're kind of right on the money there. It like he kind of transcends the cameo and turns into a supporting role that really pushes Brody on that path.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
but
And
as you were saying, sorry.
yeah. Next we have Chasing Amy. This was like I said, like all these like they were my favorite at a time. Chasing Amy's writing is hilarious. Like the first 10 minutes of this movie are like the Tracer joke, like that's just hilarious as a comedy. And I don't even think this movie's a comedy. The fact that it starts off on such like a funny note, it's really cool. Would you call this a comedy or like it's a dramedy? It's a dramedy. I
I would call
feel
this
like
more. I would call this more a drama with comedic segments. You know, I really do love how this movie kind of forego a lot of the comedic pathways and cliches that you would go through, and it just told a really messy story well. You know, it wasn't the fact that the writing was messy, but the story and the characters itself were very messy, unstable people, and I love how
Yeah.
that was portrayed.
Yeah, and I like how it makes you think. Her, that you have like her friends kind of shaming her in the movie, and then him shaming her, and then that crazy part at the end where he's like, "I think you, me, and my friend should sleep together," and then he just blows both those relationships in the end, and it's such a good ending. It's really a very complicated movie, and I feel like they put it perfectly into film. And just on the writing aspect alone, this used to be my favorite Kevin Smith movie,
Yeah.
especially I just, dude, I'm. This is gonna be a common theme through the whole thing. Jason Lee's character in this movie is a piece of shit, really, but Jason Lee is just so good. Anything with Jason Lee in it, like I'll take it. But no, Ben Affleck's performance in this movie is good too.
Absolutely.
I don't know who
Every
plays
one of
Amy.
the
I forget the name.
every one of the main characters in this movie does a fantastic job at performing the script that was given to them.
Yeah,
And for that reason, I feel like it belongs at the top. Give me some
Don Juan
Don Juan
Delanucci.
Delanucci for chasing Amy.
I will put it in Don Juan Delanucci. Specifically for the Tracer joke and the "isn't that true" joke, because that joke just hits you so out of nowhere. It's the least thing I thought he'd say, and it's so stupid. Like I
It
love,
is.
like that's what I love about these movies. They master stupid comedy. I can't think of any other movies that are this hilarious with stupid topics. It's funny, man, because like I feel like when we talk about a lot of these movies, we look back and we go, "Yeah, this was shitty in a lot of areas." But so far, like these, nothing's in the bad section. You know?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. We're getting two of them specifically will be. I think the rest will be fine.
Yeah.
Next, we have Dogma. I'm gonna let you do this one. I saw Dogma like 10 years ago. I've rewatched it since a few times, like a few years ago. Trying to remember all of it. No, Chris Rock's in it. Yeah, this is the one with Chris Rock, Ben Affleck.
George Carlin.
Oh yeah, he plays the priest.
He plays the
Um,
cardinal, yeah.
there's two things in that movie that I love. Not just the wrath dynamic between Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's characters,
Mhm.
but whenever Ben Affleck's talking, like he's turning, I think Matt Damon's line is, "You're talking about war on God." And I've seen what happens to the proud when they take on the throne. I love, like, even though it's on Earth, even though it takes place, it just that dialogue makes it feel like there's this big war going on and they're all in it, you know?
Yeah.
And I really love, like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, even, this has fallen for me over the years on the list, but at the same time, this was in Kevin Smith's good writing era.
It really was, and I do also think this movie has kind of fallen for me over the years, but I do still hold it in a lot of light, you know?
Hmm.
Like there are just a lot of great comedic performances from Chris Rock, from Alan Rickman as the kind of like the straight man of the
Yeah,
movie. Like he was hilarious, and he didn't even have to
dude,
try to be hilarious in that movie.
the
Like,
dialogue about like delivering the news to Jesus as a child that he was gonna have to sacrifice himself one day, like
yeah,
that dialogue that they give him to motivate her is so good.
it's great.
That Yeah, man, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just like there are really good parts of this movie.
No, I just
Um,
like, and I feel like this is something that I don't really see in a lot of, criticisms of the faith. I do feel like this movie still holds a little bit of respect towards the people of the faith. The common
or
people, the people who believe, and it really turns the kind of eye of the satire onto the institutions of faith.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I would put this movie either in mid tier or one above mid tier. Feels kind of funny to put Dogma in its own reference category.
You know what? Fitting for the movie, I'm gonna put it in movies like this. Don't just fall out of the sky, you know.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah. Next, we have one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Uh,
the Don Juan Delanucci of Jay and Silent Bob movies.
yes. What I love specifically about this movie is that every running joke they have throughout these movies is present in this movie. And every character in these movies is present in this movie almost. Not the Dogma characters, but everybody else from the Askewniverse has a cameo in this movie. And we're talking about Ben Affleck has two characters in this movie. Jason Lee has two characters in this movie, you know?
Yeah.
So many people have two characters in this universe.
This is the Avengers of the Viewers universe.
Yes. The Avengers, like you said, it's so
Yeah,
funny because they all walk out of the theater at the end of the movie. Remember the Blunt Man and
they do.
Chronic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, there are just
Yeah.
like there are so many great gags that come out of this movie. Like I think I've said this for pretty much every movie we've covered right now, but there are again so many iconic lines delivered through this movie.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, you just reminded me the scene where they go and kick all the asses of the people who were talking on them
Yeah,
online.
dude, like
Yeah,
just
dude,
track
this is
down all
goated.
the haters. It's a goated movie. It is one of his best, and I feel like this movie was the peak of the mountain, so to speak.
It had all the heavy hitters, like in terms of comedy. Will Ferrell, Jon Stewart, George Carlin, Chris Rock. You know, like I forget the one dude's name. There was more. I just can't think of
Mark
their
Hamill
names.
had a cameo in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
What was it? Jason Biggs and the pretty boy from Dawson's
James
Creek,
Vanderbeek.
James
Yeah,
Vanderbeek. Yeah.
the pie. Uh,
Matt Damon's back in the movie as Goodwill or Will Hunnick.
mhm.
It's just
Dude, and like I love the petty jokes that the actors have in the movie that somewhat like represent their life, like the pie joke, or like
yeah.
um
Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
yeah, like what filmmaker has ever had the opportunity to do something like that?
True.
These movies, the more I talk about them, bro, the more excited I'm getting. These movies are still special to me,
They really are.
despite the degenerateness. Like it's hard to watch some of them sometimes because it's like I've grown past this and I'm more like eye rolly about it,
Yeah.
but not grown past this. That makes me sound like I'm better than the movies or better. You know what I mean? But like, you just have different tastes over time, I feel like. And this is yeah.
And
Um
so next up is Clerks 2, and I think this is where we start getting into the area of being edgy for edgy's sake. I mean,
yeah.
this movie had a straight up donkey show,
Mhm.
and that was, while kind of absurdistly funny when I was maybe like 12 or 13, yeah, no. That just doesn't hit anymore.
Yeah. Now that you said edgy, that's the perfect way to put this movie because there's racial slurs. Like, yeah, it's just I didn't
Oh
even
yeah,
realize
that whole
that.
segment with Wanda Sykes
Yeah, like,
and the
and it's
Lord of the
funny because
Rings thing.
it has its moments, but it's not. I would say it's this used to be like I said, one of my other favorites on the list because I was young and stupid and in high school. And like I like Rosario Dawson and Dante's character, but the whole cheating thing, like, yeah, dude, everything about this movie is just edgy. Like,
It's just really edgy, like, and that's not to say that it
wow.
also doesn't have a lot of heart, in the plot, but
Well, they're still pieces of because they're
they
cheating,
are.
and
No, they are
he's
still
enabling
pieces
it,
of
so it's like,
absolutely. But the buying the quick stop scene at the end in the jail cell and that heart wrenching monologue that Randall gave to Dante. Like
yeah,
this movie does still have a lot of heart, but it does get pulled back by the amount of edginess they tried to achieve.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm actually this is the first bad movie for me. You actually convinced me with like one sentence because I've never even thought of that, but you're absolutely right.
I
Let's
don't think
see.
it's the worst movie on this list, but I do think it does belong in kind of the bad category. I would say, you dumb bastard.
May I may I make a case?
You may make a
Um,
case.
because I love Clerks 1 and 3, I think I should put it, and because it's so different from them, I think that I would put it in this movie isn't even supposed to be here today.
You know what?
Um,
I accept that.
yeah,
This
because like
this is
it's
definitely
literally
the
I
one
feel like
that
that's supposed to
aged
be in
the
the trilogy.
worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this next one only I've seen. I didn't really
Actually,
get anything out of watch. What's up?
I do remember watching this. This
Okay.
was probably like a year or two after it came out, though.
I don't remember it, so I'm gonna put uh sucks 37 dicks.
Yeah, it
Or
was really low budget, and it felt kind of like a rehash of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Okay. So,
So
worst one?
yeah, I'd say this is probably the worst one.
It's definitely, I would say, worse than Clerks 2 comparatively, but you can't even compare the two. It's just boring, in my opinion.
It really
It's not
is.
really good. Okay, so because this next one, because I wanted a Jay and Silent Bob movie again so bad after high school, when this came out, I can't believe it, but I actually enjoyed this movie. And now that I have those, rose-colored glasses off, this movie is a big steamy pile of just horridness. It's not good. Ted Armisen's character in it, don't find funny. Or whatever his name
Fred
is, the
Armisen,
hater
yeah.
tots guy.
No, I think this movie has a lot of good bits strewn throughout it, but the movie as a whole just doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
Like
And
the
it's
Ben
also
Affleck
like
cameo.
supposed to be this epic it's supposed to be this epic return, but it's kind of a fart. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's
Yeah.
just,
A lot of the cameos hit a lot harder than the actual plot elements. Like that Ben Affleck cameo, it was had a lot of love and heart put behind it. You remember Me Kids? It's Loki, the Angel of Death from Dogma.
that
You
bumps
can't
it
tell
up a
me
tier, that
you can't
joke.
tell me that line didn't have you rolling in your seat even to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bold move to just have your character say that.
Just have your
Like,
character leap back. Hey guys, you remember me? I'm
and
from
then
the
again
movie
with
from
the
10
petty
years
actor
ago.
stuff. Yeah, it's him with the petty actor stuff, like referencing the Bourne movies and stuff like that. That like there are really good gags in this movie, and really good, like you said, Jason Mewes. He acts well in this movie for a drama. I love at the end of this movie that, like, during the pan out of the quick stop, you see Dante go up to the lock and there's gum in the logs. And then,
Yeah.
I don't know if have you ever seen the end credit scene for this movie?
I believe I have. It's just been a minute.
I think it's Jay's daughter going like looking over there and she's like, "Why is that guy so mad?" And then Jay goes, "For the last 20 years, me and Silent Bob have been sticking gum in the locks." like it's so stupid.
It is.
I yeah. All right, I'm not going to put this in the worst. Do you think it should be a little below mid, or do you think
I
is this a
think
ha you dumb bastard movie?
I think this movie sits comfortably in it wasn't even supposed to be here today.
That's fair. Yeah.
Cuz I
I
mean,
was
you
being too
can't
bitter.
like there's all that stuff that we talked great about the movie, but then just like inserting the Klan into the middle of the movie for absolutely no reason. What the
Dude,
hell?
yeah, like maybe that's just part of the edgy like humor
I think it is,
that you were talking about. And I
But
find it cringe whenever like in movies they feel the need to reference other movies like to a high degree. And the fact that like that was Kevin Smith's whole thing in that scene is just more eye rolly and lazy in my opinion, uh, than an actual like good way to get out of that situation.
yeah.
Yeah, I just this one was lazy in my opinion, and I feel like it was it just wasn't good. Uh,
Yeah.
this next one, uh,
Clerks 3.
it's a
Now,
it's a
before we
Snoogans or
start,
Don Juan Delaney.
I do
What?
have to say the opening of this movie hit me so hard. Just like Welcome to
Yeah.
the Black Parade is one of my favorite songs from one of my favorite bands. And I don't know, just the way they did that kind of opening montage, it really hit and it felt like the last in a well cared for trilogy.
I got so many chills during this opening because they filmed it with the music so well that it was like when it shows them filling up the coffee and like all the things that like bring you back right to the quick stop, which was mostly missing in Clerks 2. Yeah, dude, like yeah, man. And this movie and it foreshadows the movie, you know?
It does.
It's about marching into
Absolutely.
death. And he did really pick the perfect song for the story he wanted to tell. Now, I know that this movie originally, like the first draft, had to do with shootings and stuff like that. Originally, I think Dante was supposed to die in a shooting, which
Mhm.
I'm glad they changed that. Because that wouldn't even made it like good. That would have just made it depressing. But he stuck with it. He, just like the alternate ending to Clerks 1, he stuck with. Kevin Smith really wanted to kill Dante for
He
some
really
reason.
did. And man, like that I hate to jump from like the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, but some of like one of the most emotional scenes in this entire fucking franchise is
Yeah,
Dante sitting in the theater watching Clerks 1, looking at his life with like almost optimistic acceptance that he was longing for, and it really hit.
And then seeing Rosario Dawson come in and take him,
Oh yeah.
like, and specifically him letting Randall have it after all those years, very satisfying. But dude, in the theater when that scene happens, you could hear a pin drop, and I really do believe that Brian O'Halloran deserved an Oscar for that performance.
He did. He
Yeah,
played that part beautifully, dude. And even how we said, Clerks 2 was like the most like one of the most edgy things that really failed in its inception. Throughout this entire Clerks 1, 2, and 3, Brian O'Halloran delivered a consistency to the character of Dante that I don't think we've truly seen
yeah.
in movies and their sequels.
Yeah, so for me, it's gonna be a Snoogans. There are like there's still elements about this movie that try to be edgy, of
Oh yeah,
course.
absolutely.
Like,
Like the direction they took the Elijah character, it's just I felt was kind of just like an out of left field type of thing.
yeah, just like a lot of overacting in that regard, but like that's not the only character that gets the overacting. But with
Yeah.
Jay, you're used to it,
With Jay,
like
you're used
so.
to it. I feel like Randall in this movie definitely overacted a little bit. He was still really good in this movie.
Yeah.
But and then yeah.
All right, you know what? There is like I'm gonna be honest. There's a few things I dislike about this movie, like what Ed just said, but I think it's my favorite one. And I think this is like the Kevin Smith movies if they finally grew up, especially the ending. What a bold way to end not only the story of Dante, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be it for the View Askew movies. I don't think Twilight of the Mallrats is going to sell good. The first one flopped. It's a cult
Yeah.
classic, but for people who like it, and that's me and you, but not everybody's going to like it. Yeah, they're not for everybody, but they don't need to be for everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't
Absolutely.
want to say that as something that takes away from it.
Like even especially in the present, we see so many movies try to appeal to a general audience, try to check every box that they possibly can. And this movie franchise reminds us that not everything really has to be that way. Things can be unique in a way that pushes some people away.
Yeah. Is it okay if I put it in Don Juan Delanucci? Uh,
Absolutely.
just because I think it's among what I can now call the big three of these movies. These are the
Big 3.
best. These ones at the top, man, they are like good for all the different reasons. Chasing Amy's like the best written movie. Jay and Silent Bob's Strike Back is the funniest. And Clerks 3 is, in my opinion, what the View Askewniverse needed, which was a grown up movie that took the characters more seriously. And especially when they're getting that old,
Oh
you
yeah.
know? And Jay and Silent Bob and Clerks 3, I will say, are very funny.
Oh yeah. No, they
Uh,
absolutely are.
but yeah, dude, I think, I'm very comfortable with where everything is at on this list.
I do
Like,
too. This was a great franchise to start on. Because it's
yeah.
something that we again hold very dear to our childhood and development. And even though we do say that we have outgrown these movies, they do still hold a very special place in our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, these were the movies like I watched in the middle of discovering my youth.
Yeah.
And I feel like Mallrats is a great movie for that. Clerks is kind of a great movie for that, the first one. The other ones are basically just good times except those three at the bottom. I've never ranked them, and you know what's funny about these tier lists? I don't know where I rank these movies until it's time to rank them. So it's really cool to like see it physically. What's in our minds is we hold subconsciously to the highest regard. And the fact that you and me can both agree on this tier list is actually surprising. I didn't think we would agree on these movies like as
Yeah,
much as we did.
I feel like we definitely swayed each other kind of equally here in our opinions and stuff.
Yeah.
And, we definitely came to an understanding of where these movies lie in conjunction with each other.
Mhm. And I just want to say to you guys, we are only doing stuff on this channel that we're passionate about. And even though we've kind of grew out of these movies, these are still movies that we were very passionate about at one time. And it's very fun to revisit these movies. We were just watching blooper reels, clips from movies to refresh our memory. I've watched these movies so many times I just remember everything, but like I had so much fun doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because yeah, this is like cleaning your room for movie reviews. Like you're cleaning your opinion. You know what I mean?
It really no, you actually hit it right on the nail there. Hit the nail right on the head there. Yeah, this is really just like kind of tidying up your movie opinions. It's almost like the power scaling of movie opinions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is a perfect way to end the video. Oh yeah, never mind. We got to talk about Kevin Smith's heart attack. We got to throw out that shout out in there. That's not like Clerks 3 was just entirely based off that. Maybe that's why Dante's performance was so good. Maybe he was just mad at Kevin Smith, and then he was like, "Oh, you keep doing Randall is talking about your heart attack." Like, I could see that being the case. Uh, but no, fun fact before I leave, Brian O'Halloran at cons has a tip jar that says I think it says something along the lines of like, if you say I'm not supposed to be here today, you owe me $1. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys for joining us on this journey as we sort through the opinions of the past in our mind. This has been the Supercat Studios Untitled Tier List series, and we hope you enjoy our next picks, the MCU and the DCU. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Now that there might need to be a headphone warning on some of those videos.
Yeah.